Since from that time, I'm in dialysis.
It has the world's second biggest population, but more than 40% of the people are dirt poor, living beneath the poverty line. This is modern India. There is no government-funded welfare system or safety net. Falling sick here can be a death sentence. With only $4 per person per year spent on public health care, in times of ill health, Indians have learned to look after themselves. On the outskirts of Bangalore, India's third largest city, a unique experiment in healthcare. Narayana Rudalaya, the Temple of the Heart, a hospital with a difference, determined to make a difference. Here, profit and free medicine sit side by side.
Every month we do about 60 to 80 heart surgeries virtually free.
Oh, I'm very excited, man, when I'll go for operation.
Allowing people to die from a disease which can be cured, where the solutions are available, is the greatest human right violation.
আপনি কিছু জিজ্ঞেস করবেন কোনো প্রশ্ন আছে ভালো হবে আপনি চিন্তা করবেন না আমি অপারেশন করব ভগবান দয়া ভালো হবে ঠিক আছে ভালো
In a country where gods and their numerous incarnations are worshipped by millions, for many patients, 58-year-old cardiac surgeon Dr. Devi Shetty is as near to a god as a mortal can be.
ঠিক আছে বিপদ করিও না ওকে
6 days a week, 16 hours a day, a constant stream of patients from across India enter his office. They come, the rich and the poor, who will travel for days by train or bus to a consultation with him for illnesses both real and imagined.
সারা জীবন আপনাকে হার্ট অ্যাটাক হবে ইয়া ব্যথা হচ্ছে এই অ্যাসিডিটি সম্বন্ধে ব্যথা হচ্ছে হ্যাঁ হার্টের সম্বন্ধে নেই
The essence for life is helping people. We are in a profession wherein people come, they're not coming here to buy a car or a house or a new pair of suit. They are coming here to save their life. And when they come and tell us that, they have no money and we know if we refuse, they're going to die. So if a hospital is not able to help people who come to the doorstep, we believe they should not be doing that job.
আমি সাহায্য করবে আপনি রিসেপশন যাবে মিস্টার জাকারিয়াকে দেখবেন হ্যাঁ আমি কনসেশন প্যাকেজে করব পরে আমি লিখেছি এখানে নো এক্সট্রা চার্জেস হ্যাঁ
Dear Raghu,
Narayana Rudalaya is the brainchild of one of the world's top cardiac surgeons. 10 years on, it has become a hugely successful and profitable hospital.
work at the
But this is not what drives Shetty. His goal is to provide high-end, affordable healthcare to both rich and poor.
cath lab for Philips. As a young medical student, I used to think that God hasn't given me the talent to sing or dance or many things. I didn't have the talent, and I thought God hasn't given me anything which I should be proud of. But one day I realized that, God gave me something, that is to cut and stitch.
among all the things I do the easiest thing is the heart surgery The surgeons are like artists. You need to create an environment which is very relaxing. So surgeons can operate from morning till evening without getting tired. Because when an artist is painting something, he doesn't get tired. It's very relaxing for him. This is the kind of environment we like to create. So we have nice music at the background. We deliberately create large windows. And also in the Western countries, they create small operating room. When you have the small operating room, when people are cluttered, again, it's not conducive for a creative environment. So we create large operating rooms.
I was born and brought up in a small town called Kinnigodi, which is close to Mangalore. I'm the 8th of the 9 children. When you are the 8th child, when you grow up, your parents are old. And my father was a diabetic. He was going in and out of the hospital. And my mother had gynecological problems. She had a hysterectomy. And so as a kid, when I was growing up, my fear was that I may lose my parents any time. And the only person who could save them is a doctor. So in the eyes of us as children, doctor was like a god.
The population of this country is almost unimaginably huge. There may be nearly 1 billion Hindus in India, but that still leaves room for 200 million Muslims to celebrate Eid al-Fitr, one of the most important events in the Muslim calendar. But for one family, there's little to celebrate this Eid. Akbar and Kur Ali are typical of India's new working class. He's a machinery salesman and Kur works in a small business. Each month they bring home 10,000 rupees, equivalent to $200. It's just enough to live on, but that's it. No room for luxuries, let alone medical emergencies. Their firstborn is 9-month-old Hatisham. Theirs is also a typical Indian extended family, with the in-laws living upstairs. All of them are devout Muslims.
मेरा जब डिलीवरी हुआ था नॉर्मल डिलीवरी है कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं था जब वो बॉर्न हुआ तो कुछ भी प्रॉब्लम नहीं था मेरे बच्चे को तो पैदा होते 2.9 kg वेट था उसका डॉक्टर लोग भी बताया कुछ बेबी को प्रॉब्लम नहीं है नॉर्मल है करके तो हम लोग बहुत खुश हुए अल्लाह मियाँ ने सही सलामती.
But Allah had not blessed Hatisham with good health. By the time he was 3 months old, he was desperately ill, terribly jaundiced with a high fever.
इंदिरा गांधी हॉस्पिटल ले गया फिर वहाँ के डॉक्टर ने बोला लिवर बड़ा हो गया इसको कसाई ऑपरेशन करना पड़ा फिर उधर इंदिरा गांधी हॉस्पिटल में कसाई ऑपरेशन हुआ फिर ऑपरेशन हो के 15 डेज अच्छा था फिर उसके बाद फीवर स्टार्ट हो गया.
In spite of the operation and 4 more visits to the local state hospital, no treatment seemed to work. Hatisham was dying.
लास्ट ट्रिप जो हम लास्ट एपिसोड वहाँ पे एडमिट हुए थे तो बच्चा तब बहुत सीरियस ही हो गया था और उसका बॉडी पूरा फूक गया था आंग में पानी भर गया था.
बहुत फीलिंग है बहुत परेशान. बहुत दुख होता है.
तो वहाँ के डॉक्टर लोग बोले इसके आंग में पानी भर गया है तो ये लीवर इसका वर्क नहीं कर रहा है ये हम लोग यहाँ पे नहीं कर सकते हम आपको एक एड्रेस देंगे वहाँ पे जाओ क्योंकि वहाँ पे लीवर डॉक्टर्स रहते हैं उनको पता है कि उसको कैसे कंट्रोल करना है क्या करना है.
That doctor was Ashley de Cruz, one of only a few hundred pediatric liver specialists in the world. And Dr. de Cruz was working at the Narayana Hrudayalaya Hospital, just 25 kilometers from Hatisham's family home. On their very first visit, the Alis are told that Hatisham needs a liver transplant.
हमको पता चला लिवर ट्रांसप्लांट करते हैं, तो हमको सुनने के बाद में थोड़ा डर सा लगा। तो बाद में ठीक है हम लोग तैयार हैं बोला, तो संजय डॉक्टर ने बताया तो आप दोनों डिसीजन कर लिया करवाएंगे करके, आप सब अपनी फैमिली के मेंबर्स जो भी हैं डिसीजन कीजिए, डिसीजन करके हमको फाइनल डिसीजन बताएंगे तो हम लोग तैयार करेंगे।
For most Indians, the question of whether or not to accept a transplant would be academic. They simply couldn't afford it. But for the Alis, this isn't going to be the issue.
ये बच्चे को मैं बहुत समझाया, बच्चे इतना बड़ा रिस्क ले रही, बहुत बड़ा रिस्क है। नादान है, बच्चे को कुछ मालूम नहीं होता, वो बच्चे की प्यार में खो गई, बिल्कुल कुछ भी नहीं बोलना, कोई भी क्या भी बोलो नहीं मानता। बहुत से लोग बोल रहे नहीं माने।
मना किया हमें भी, उसे बोलिया हमें नको, तुम्हारा लाइफ का सोचो आइंदे का, अभी भी होने का है बच्चा, कई कुएं करता है तो नहीं होता।
हमारे रिलेटिव्स में है ना, अभी क्या बोलते हैं, अभी बच्चा छोटा है 5-6 महीने का है, अभी और बच्चे हो सकते हैं, भगवान कितने दिन रखेगा, रहने दो, क्यों रिस्क लेते हो, फिर कैसे बोला। हमने बोला क्यों छोड़े, अपने बच्चे की तकलीफ हमें सामने देखना है क्या।
The harsh reality here is that it's cheaper to have a new child than save a life. "12 years ago, this was barren land, 25 kilometers and 2 hours drive from downtown Bangalore. To some, Dr. Shetty was either a crazy visionary or perhaps just crazy.
I always wanted to build a large health city with 5,000 beds. And we all believe that the only way the cost of high-tech healthcare will come down is by economy of the scale. So we took a large plot of land on the outskirts of the city. When we built this hospital, believe me, there was no hotel here. Even to have a cup of tea, you needed to wait for 2-3 hours. There was a single lane road. It used to take more than 2 hours to reach, and people thought, I'm crazy to build a hospital in the outskirts of the city. We started here with 250 beds. Now we have 3,000 beds. We have a very large cancer hospital with close to 2,000 beds. We have an eye hospital which can do 500 cataract surgery a day. We have reached up to 35 major heart surgeries in a day. We get about 3,000 outpatients per day, and we can go up to 12,000 outpatients per day.
Liver transplantation in this country is hardly 10 or 15 years old now. We have worked for many years to try to get the disease donor program going. But for some reason, it has not caught on. So we have no other option but to go to the live donor, both for the kidneys that we do as well as for the liver. Now this has various reasons. One, maybe religious. Two, maybe the sanctity of the body, defiling it, taking out organs, etc. People feel poorly about that. आप परमिशन दे दिया ऑपरेशन करने के लिए, बाद में बोलना नहीं डॉक्टर साहब आप ए रिस्क।
It's a month later, and the Alis have come to a decision. Overruling the older members of the family, they want Hatisham to have a transplant. But they're in for a shock.
This little baby, 5.2 kilograms, 9 months of age, who I've just seen with his parents, he's got very poor nutrition. He's got a huge tummy filled with fluid, very deeply jaundiced and really sick. And I think he will benefit from life-related liver transplantation. So I spoke to the parents and I've advised them and told them that the only way forward is to do a transplant. And they seem quite keen, and we now have to identify a donor. It'll be either the mom or the dad. And I have to see how that will go forward once we investigate them.
तो हम लोगों को पता नहीं था कि डोनर देना है, वो भी हमको पता नहीं था। बोले तो वही डालते होंगे लीवर, ऐसे हम लोग समझ रहे थे। जब यहाँ आने के बाद में पता चला कि लीवर हमें से कोई देना है फैमिली में।
The rapid growth and success of the Narayana Hospital Health City is unparalleled in India. The pioneering steps taken by Dr. Shetty and his team also have lessons for the entire healthcare industry. Shetty is beginning to overcome one of medicine's greatest challenges, offering high-end hospital services to the masses while still turning in an annual profit of 9%.
Charity is not scalable. Irrespective of how wealthy you are, you want to give away things free of cost. There is a finite amount you can give away. After that, you will become broke. Whereas a good business concept, which is aimed to reduce the cost constantly by efficiency, by the size, this is the one which will scale up and it will reach out to millions and millions of people. So we decided to adopt all the business concept of Henry Ford or a Walmart or anyone. One thing common with all of them is the size, economy of the scale.
It's Akbar and Kerr's second visit to the hospital. They're here to undergo the all-important tests for donor compatibility, as only live donor transplants are allowed in India. This is why so few transplants are done each year. If no one compatible will give up part of their liver, the patient will die.
हम दोनों भी चेकअप कराया था, हम दोनों का भी सेट हुआ है। फर्स्ट मैंने दिया, चेकअप टेस्ट करवाया, ब्लड टेस्ट लेने के बाद फिर मुझको फीडिंग आया, तो तब वो ऐसा फीडिंग आ गया ना, उसकी वजह से स्टॉप कर दिया। तो मैंने हस्बैंड का कैसे बताया ऐसे 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 हुआ, क्या करें करके। तो बाद में फिर मेरा हस्बैंड ने फिर इनका टेस्ट स्टार्ट किया, तो इनका भी ब्लड ग्रुप सेम आया, तब फिर इनका चालू किया टेस्ट। इसका कॉस्ट आपको 10 to 12 lakhs लगेगा बोला। तो हम लोग बोले हम लोग छोटे लोग हैं, इतना कॉस्ट हम नहीं कर सकते बोले। तो वो बोले आप पैसे की चिंता मत करो, पैसा कहीं से भी आपको हो जाएगा, उसके बारे में क्या करना है हम लोगों से कितना कोशिश हो सके हम सपोर्ट करना सपोर्ट करेंगे, पैसा कैसा आना है वो भी हमको आप बताएंगे। आप पैसे के बारे में चिंता मत करो, बच्चे को बचाने के लिए आप पहले बच्चे का डिसीजन किया।
In another hospital, they'd be simply sent away until they came up with the cash. But here, the Narayana helps them find the money.
Approximately 10% of this 12 lakhs they can get from the state and the central government as grants. There is another mechanism that we have used quite successfully of putting up a letter in the name of the child and opening an account with the hospital and sending this letter out to philanthropists and companies and corporates and all that. And the family does it. They do it, we don't do it. The family, we tell them what to do. They tell them that you can do these things and they do it. And I'm amazed at how helpful people have been.
Approximately 40% of the patients pay a reasonable price for whatever treatment is given. A small percentage of them give premium because they are wealthy people, they want single room with all the luxuries and all that. About 60% of the patients pay less than the market rate, and 10-20% of the patients pay virtually nothing. But even though they pay very small amount of money, we have a charitable wing which raises money from donors and philanthropists, and that compensates for the material cost.
Lakshmi Krishna was once a banker. Now her busy office in the cardiac hospital is at the center of Shetty's Robin Hood business model, where the rich subsidize the poor.
Setting up a charitable wing in the hospital, and the people can walk into my office and talk to me and tell about their problems, and I think it was quite an innovative thing.
Each year, 2.5 million people in India require cardiac surgery, but just 4%, 90,000, get the operation they need. For these 20 patients and their families, it's a different story. The poorest of the poor, they've been brought to Narayana Hospital from all over India to be assessed for cardiac surgery. They're being bused to meet their sponsors from a local Bangalore charity, the Have a Heart Foundation, for a final assessment.
Good morning.
For most of these hopefuls, it's the first time they've left their state or even their village, and Narayana is their last chance for the operation that may save their lives.
Okay, thank you.
The Have a Heart Foundation is a group of Bangalore businessmen who raise funds to sponsor cardiac operations. Its members are stalwarts of Lakshmi's charity program. They meet with her each month to assess possible patients.
They called, said, we are not coming, we don't have money. And young girl, she is 14 years old girl. She didn't want to come because considering that she is very young, I told them somehow you arrange some money and come along.
See, helping people is very intoxicating. Once you start helping people, it makes you feel so good about it that you want to do more and more and more. We need not wait for our approvals.
It's people like Mani Chatlani who make the Shetty model of affordable healthcare possible. A successful businessman with a chain of stores throughout India, he's chosen to help those less fortunate by using his proven business skills to make the Have a Heart Foundation a sustainable venture.
Have a Heart has done 2,900 surgeries in the last 4.5 years, and we've collected and donated about 9.5 crores, it's about $2 million. My dream is to do 10,000 surgeries.
In India, there are literally 1 billion ways where the Have a Heart funds could make a difference. While the charismatic Shetty and his ideals are a draw card, it's the fact that he can offer the surgery cheaper than anyone else which is the main attraction.
As an organization, we want to help people, and we have compared the prices of different hospitals. The deal what he is giving us is an amazing deal. At 70,000, nobody else is willing to do a bypass surgery for us with the quality and standards what he is affording. And the huge difference between Narayana Hridayalaya and any other hospital is that any hospital, when the patient is told that this is the amount you need, this is what is going to cost you. If you say, I don't have the money, simple answer is, come back when you have the money. Over here, nobody says that. If you don't have the money, you are sent to a social worker, that's Lakshmi Mani, who tries to contact people like us and tries to save as many lives as possible.
The work of the Narayana Hridayalaya Hospital is known throughout Karnataka state in South India. Even here in Yaradona, a typical sleepy rural village 300 kilometers from Bangalore. Life here is governed by the seasons and the coming of the monsoon as it has been for centuries. 13-year-old Rajeshwari is a typical schoolgirl in most respects, except one.
ಫಸ್ಟಿಗೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ರಿ ತಾಯಿ ಹಾಲು ಕುಡಿತಿದ್ಲು ನಾವಂತೂ ತಾಯಿ ಹಾಲು ಫಸ್ಟಿಗೆ ತಾಯಿ ಹಾಲು ಕುಡಿತಿದ್ದಲ್ರಿ ಅವಾಗೇನು ನಮಗೇನು ಅನಿಸಿಲ್ರಿ ಇತ್ತೀಚೆಗೆ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಯಾವಾಗ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅನ್ನ ಉಣ್ಸಕತ್ತಿದ್ವಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಬತ್ತದ್ಲು ಇತ್ತೀಚೆಗೆ ಬಂದಂಗೆಲ್ಲ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಬಾಯಿ ಅಲ್ಲ ಬಂದಂಗೆಲ್ಲ ಬಾಯಿ ಹತ್ತಾತು.
When Rajeshwari was just 6 months old, she suffered an ear infection which went untreated. The infection spread and eventually froze her jaw. From the age of 11 months, she hasn't been able to open her mouth properly to talk or to eat. Today she's malnourished, weighs only 20 kilograms, suffers from depression. In rural India, where life is tough enough already, Rajeshwari's disability is not only life-threatening, but stacks the odds against her quite horribly.
ರಾಜೇಶ್ವರಿ ನನಗೆ 1ನೇ ತರಗತಿಯಿಂದ ಗೊತ್ತು. ಅವಳು 1ನೇ ತರಗತಿಗೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ವೀಕ್ ಇದ್ಲು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅವಳು ಕಾಲು ಒಂದು ಎಡಗಾಲು ಲೆಫ್ಟ್ ಲೆಗ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಭಾಳ ತೆಳ್ಳಗಿತ್ತು, ತಿನ್ನಂಗಿತ್ತು. ಆಗಿರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅವಳು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಓಡಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಭಾಳ ಕಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತಿದ್ಲು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಊಟ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬಾಯಿ ತೆಗಿಯೋಕೆ ಆಗ್ತಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಅವರು ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸು ಭಾಳ ಪೂವರ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಆಸ್ಪತ್ರೆ ತೋರ್ಸೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರು. ಉತ್ತಮವಾಗಿ ಮುಂದೆ ಬರಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ, ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಹುಡುಗಿ ಆಗಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅವಳು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬಾಯಿ ಈ ಥರ ಫುಲ್ ಓಪನ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ತೊಂದರೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಊಟ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಓಡಾಡೋಕ್ಕೂ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ತೊಂದರೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ.
Classroom, when I used to question her, she feel too guilty to stand because she can't answer properly. Now she can't open her jaw, she can't speak properly. When interval time is there, she wants to go alone. And when we give some homework in the class, in school only, then she want to do it alone only.
Over at the Ali's home, they've had good news. Kaur has discovered that her work insurance will cover the entire cost of the operation, and Hattersham's liver transplant is on. On the day before the operation, the family packs up to move to the hospital. For Akbar, Kaur and baby Hattersham, this is just the first stage of what will turn out to be a very long journey. The 25-kilometre trip across Bangalore to the hospital on some of India's busiest roads will take over an hour.
Come, please sit down. Please sit down. Hello.
Dr. De Cruz wants to be sure the family understand quite how risky the operation is, and they're given one last chance to change their minds.
हम 2 बार आपसे बात किया पहले, सो आपको पूरा अंडरस्टैंड हो गया. अभी कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं, ठीक है. आज का मीटिंग, फाइनल मीटिंग, कुछ डाउट है, कुछ आपका माइंड में कुछ क्वेश्चंस है, और वो सब पूछने के लिए, डिस्कस करने के लिए वो हम अभी मीट कर रहे हैं, ठीक है. एक दूसरा, ये ऑपरेशन मैं बताया आपको, ये सबसे ऑपरेशन के बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट वाला है, बहुत डिफ़िकल्ट वाला है. आपका ऑपरेशन उतना डेंजर नहीं है, बच्चा का ऑपरेशन बहुत डेंजर है. उसका ऑपरेशन करने के लिए, वो लिवर निकालने के लिए और दूसरा लिवर डालने के लिए बहुत रिस्क्स हैं. और आप लोग अंडरस्टैंड होके आप परमिशन दे दिया ऑपरेशन करने के लिए, क्योंकि कुछ नहीं किया तो क्या हो जाएगा. हम कुछ नहीं किया तो उसका लाइफ को डेंजर है. अभी 1 साल में ये बच्चा का लाइफ चल जाएगा. सो अभी हम ऑपरेशन किया तो 70-80% चांस अभी है उसको. लॉन्ग टर्म में, मैं बोले शॉर्ट टर्म में हमारे रिजल्ट से 90% के ऊपर है, उसका सक्सेस हो सकता है, ठीक है. गुड, ऑल द बेस्ट. यू हैव टू स्पीक to
Yeah.
Upperwala. Huh?
First God, uske baad
Yeah,
hum log.
Upperwala, he only decides. We all are technicians. Huh? We do what we can. Yeah.
Rajeshwari comes from a poor family. Her father is employed as a casual labourer in the fields when work is available, and her mother earns a small income by doing laundry for families in the village. On a good day, the family can earn the equivalent of $2.50. In India, one of the parents' main responsibilities is to marry off their children well. With her facial deformity, it'll be difficult to find a husband for Rajeshwari, and for a girl to remain unmarried in Indian society is almost unthinkable.
ತೋರಿಸಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡೋದು ಕೊಡಿ ಅಂತ ನಮ್ಮ ತಕ್ಕ ಹೇಗೆ ತಿಳ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ಕೊಡೋಕೆ ಹೇಗೆ ತಿಳ್ರಿ ನಾವು ಇದು ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಚೈತನ್ಯ ಶ್ರೀ ಇದು ಅದ್ರಾಗ ಆತಂತಂದು ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಂತಂದು ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಆದ್ರೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬೇಸ್ ಆತಾಳ್ರಿ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಂಬಕ್ಕೆ 4 ಮಂದಿಯಾಗ ಅಡ್ಡಾಡಂಗೆ ಆತಾಳ ಮತ್ತು ಈಗ ಮದುವೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೊಡೋದು ಏನು ರೀ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬಿಡಮ್ಮ ನಡ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಏನು ರೀ ಮತ್ತು ಈಗ ಹಂಗಿದ್ದ ಮೇಲೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ ಯಾರು ಈಗ ಬಡ ಅಂದಾಳಕ್ಕೆ ನಾಳೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಯಾರು
Sometimes luck can change people's lives. Rajeshwari's parents were lucky to be introduced to a man in a neighbouring village who told them about Narayana Rudalaya Hospital and the possibility of free or at least affordable treatment. Borrowing money for the bus fare, her father took Rajeshwari to Bangalore for a consultation, hoping that against all odds, something could be done for his daughter. Meanwhile, on the transplant ward, Kur Akbar and baby Hatisham wait to be taken to theatre. This poor Indian family are about to receive state-of-the-art, highly complex surgery. Two surgical teams, 2 theatres, 18 people working over the next 12 hours or more. The first operation is to remove a section of Akbar's liver to give to his infant son. When it's ready, baby Hatisham will be brought to the theatre for the transplant. It's going to be an anxious day for all concerned. For Rajeshwari and her father Muradappa, this is their first ever trip to the big city of Bangalore. It's a frightening and at times overwhelming experience. For people used to the quiet pace of village life, they may as well be visiting a foreign country. At the hospital, the multiple processes and paperwork involved in getting a consultation are baffling and time-consuming. On the first day, they're already worried about the upcoming costs for travel, consultations, accommodation, food, and any medication that might be prescribed. It requires a good deal of reassurance from the hospital staff to help them pursue their dream. In the operating theatre, the team is 4 hours into Akbar's surgery. And while they continue with the final stages of removing a piece of his liver, baby Hatisham is brought to the theatre next door to start his operation. Rajeshwari and her father Muradappa are meeting surgeon Dr. Rolson Sandeep, who'll decide if anything can be done for her.
What has happened in her is that, as of now, what I see is she's not able to open her mouth. Madam, full force. You can see the amount of force she's generating there. It's all the muscles are stretched, but it's almost nil. There is maybe 1 millimeter of gap between both the teeth. That's all. ಸೊ ಇವಳದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, ಆಗ ಕಿವಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ಫೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗಿರೋ ಕಾರಣದಿಂದ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಎಣಿಸ್ತೇನೆ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ಲಿ. ಅದಾಗಿ ಅವಳ ಈ ಜಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬೋನ್, ಈ ಎಲುಬು ಎರಡು ಫ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ಟು. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅವಳಿಗೆ ಬೆಳೆಯಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅಂದರೆ ಅದು ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅವಳಿಗೆ ಬಾಯಿ ತೆಗಿಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದೇನಾಗಿದೆ ಬೆಳವಣಿಗೆಯಲ್ಲಿ, ಬಾಯಿ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗೂ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನಾವು ಬಾಯಿ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ ಅವಳನ್ನು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಸರ್ಜರಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಈ ಮುಖ ಏನು ಸೊಟ್ಟ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅದನ್ನು ಸ್ಟ್ರೈಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಸ್ಟ್ರೈಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಥರ ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಕಾಣೋ ಥರ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. The issue is that she cannot afford the treatment elsewhere. But we have applied for the insurance scheme. She's a school-going kid, and there is an insurance which covers the school-going children. It does not pay much, but since the hospital policy is like that we don't send any of the patients back from here. So I think she should be able to treat her. If it was to be operated, it will go up to somewhere around 1 lakh or so, and her treatment would cost another lakh, maybe 2.5 to 3 lakhs would be the cost. So the government would pay her, in her case maybe we will get some 15,000 rupees, but the rest of it we will have to somehow manage it. That's the thing. It's of a great help for her, She tells that she cannot forget this for the lifetime. ಹೆದರ್ಬಾರ್ದಂಗೆ ಎಂತ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ.
During Rajeshwari's operation, Dr. Rolson will be assisting his boss, internationally renowned craniomaxillofacial surgeon, Dr. Paul Salins.
It's a natural talent for me. I have never really worked very hard acquiring the skills as if it was a gift. But when I see the youngsters and, they all come with very radical, very rigid ideas to me. And then suddenly they see me, and as you can see, I'm a little bit of an eccentric, and see all these things and the multitude of things they do. I really hope that I give them a sort of perspective about life.
For 15 years, I wanted to be like him. So that's the reason I took maxillofacial surgery in Dharwad, the center set up by him. And from there, I joined here.
Rajeshwari is taken for the necessary measurements and photographs in preparation for her upcoming surgery, followed by a trip to the nutritionist.
So now she's 13-year-old, and from the last 12 years, she has been eating her food like this. She cannot open her mouth.
She's given food supplements and a diet list to get her fit for surgery, which will take place in a month's time. In the operating theatre, 9 hours into the operation, and baby Hattusham's diseased liver is finally ready for removal.
This is the diseased liver, which you can see here, which has been taken down, dissected of all its attachments. Now everything is kept ready. Once the graft comes from there, once we perfuse the graft, we just clamp all the arteries and take out the whole liver tissue and put that back.
Just about in the final steps of taking out the left lobe of the liver. As we receive the graft, we wash out the blood from the graft by using a cold solution. It washes out the blood from the liver, cleans out the bile ducts as well as the artery, and protects the liver for some time till we can implant it into the baby.
अकबर आगे बोलिए। अकबर जीभ दिखाओ। शाबाश।
The graft of the liver onto baby Hattusham is more complicated than expected and takes another 8 hours. It's 2 the following morning, before Hattusham leaves the theatre. Later that morning, while Akbar's suffering the after effects of the anaesthetic, Kur is called to the intensive care unit, where Hattusham has taken a turn for the worse.
The baby's enzymes bumped up a little bit, and we were concerned. So we did an ultrasound of his liver, and we found that the artery, the signal on the artery, we were not picking it up.
For 2 days, Hattusham's life hangs in the balance before he stabilizes. 4 days after his operation, Akbar is recovering well.
वही 10 दिन रहने के लिए बोला है। अभी तो परवाह नहीं, कल से थोड़ा वॉक भी कर रहा हूँ।
अभी बच्चे पे 4 दिन गुजरना है, डॉक्टर ने बोला 10 दिन गुजर जाने के बाद में ही इज आउट ऑफ डेंजर।
देखो उधर, Hadesha.
It seems to be good news for the family. For the first time in 6 months, Hatisham appears to be thriving.
प्रोग्रेसिंग हो रहा है, अच्छी तरह से खा रहा है, कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं है।
But as we shall see, Hatisham is far from out of danger. In the next episode of Indian Hospital, 13-year-old Rajeshwari prepares for her life-changing operation.
Okay, let us pray to God.
We meet 30-year-old Prabhu dealing with a fatal disease.
What's wrong with me? I'm fine, or why am I not able to walk?
12-year-old Vicky flies in from Dubai for open-heart surgery, and baby Hatisham fights for his life.